Alright, for those that weren't able to be at school today, we are doing Notes 205. There's also a quiz today. For at least this year I made the video. So I have to make it up when you get back. So quiz over the lessons we had before. So chapter 2.1 and 2.2. Alright, so today we're going to be converting fractions to decimals. No, we did that yesterday. It's supposed to be decimals to fractions. So that's what we're going to be doing today. All right, so any terminating decimal can be written as a fraction whose denominator is a power of 10. So that means 10, 100,000, something like that. So as long as it's terminating fraction or decimal. You can often simplify the resulting fraction by dividing out any common factors, which is the same as removing a common factor from the numerator and denominator, so simplifying it. So if you notice the number 0.48, you take the number after the decimal. That goes on the top of the fraction. Then I look at how many numbers are to the right of the decimal. There's two numbers to the right, so I have two zeros because that's in the hundredths place. So 48 hundredths, you simplify by taking out a 4, and you end up with 12 over 25. If you're not good at simplifying fractions, just see how many 2's you can take out if they're both even. All right, so this one right here, negative 0.26 is a fraction in simplest form. Right here in the reading, it says negative 0.26 is read as negative 26 hundredths because it's in the hundredths place. Now I just remember, hey, there's two numbers right here on the right, so I know on the bottom I'm going to have 100. So the 26 goes on top, 100 goes on the bottom. They're both even, so you take out 2, you get 13 over 50. Don't forget to keep the negative sign, so it's a negative 13 over 50. All right, so let's go ahead and turn our page and let's try some. All right, so do you see how there are three numbers to the right of the decimal? That means I'm going to put a 1 with 3 zeros on the bottom. On the top, I just put the 125. Now, this one, they're not even, but I can take out a 5 because it ends in a 5 and a 0. So if I take out a 5, that's going to go, 2, 5, so 25 times. 5 into this goes 200 times. Take out another 5. That's going to go 5 times. 40. And I got to take out another 5. So I end up with 1 over 8. So 1/8 is 0.125. So make sure you do simplify. Always try to take out 2's and 5's. That's usually what we take out. All right, this one, do you see how we have a negative 10? That just tells me in my answer I'm going to have a negative 10 and then I'm going to have a fraction. So I'm just going to take the 2, 5. That's going to go on top of the fraction. And again, there's one number, two numbers, so I put a 1 with 2 zeros. So that's 25 hundredths. Now I can either take out a 5. That's going to give me 5 over 20, and then I take out another 5, and I end up with 1 over 4. So don't forget to put that 1/4 with the negative 10. So I end up with negative 10 and 1/4. All right. So again, figure out how many numbers to the right. That's how many zeros you put. So then here's an example from the book. Table shows the elevations of 4 sea creatures relative to sea level. Which sea creature are deeper than the whale? So we're looking for basically which one is the furthest to the left on a number line, the biggest negative decimal, because the bigger the negative, the smaller it is, the deeper it is. So one way is to do a number line. So you want to change them to decimals. So if we change them to decimals, and once you get them all to decimals, put them on a number line. And the one furthest to the left, well, here's the whales. So which one is deeper than the whale? There's actually two. There is the anglerfish and the squid. Both of those are deeper than the whale. They are smaller numbers. The further to the left, the bigger the negative, the smaller it is. All right. Then we have order numbers from least to greatest. You guys had this in the last chapter too, but now you know how to change fractions to decimals. So negative 3 divided by 4 would be negative 0.75. 2/3 is a repeating decimal. That ends up being 0.6 with a line over it. And negative 7 over 2 is negative 3.5. So I've changed those a bunch of times, so I kind of know. So we're looking for the smallest. We have two of them that are negatives. The negative 3.5 is smaller, so it'd be negative 7 over 2. And then we would do the negative 3/4. Oops. So negative 3/4. Then we've got 0.5, 0.6, and 1.4. So 0.5 would be the next one. Then the 0.6 repeating, which is 2/3. And the largest one is 1.4. So there they are in order from least to greatest. So it'd take you a little longer because you'd have to change those fractions to decimals. And that's how I compare them. You can also do fraction or decimals to fractions, but then you got to do a common denominator. All right, this one right here, I'm going to stack. Negative 2.2, negative 2.42. So I can always add a 0. The 4 is bigger, but since it's negative, it's actually smaller. So the negative 2.42 is the smaller one, so you would have to be the greater than sign. So be careful. The bigger the negative, the smaller it actually is. And the last one, 3/11. 3 divided by 11. That goes 2 times. That's 22. 8 out of 0. That goes 7. 77. 3. It's actually going to be a repeating 2/7. So if you have negative 5.2727, and then we have negative 5.2222, the 7's bigger, but since it's negative, this is actually the smaller, so smaller. So that means it's got to go this direction. It eats the bigger one, points to the smaller one. All right, go ahead now and work on homework 205. If the quiz is on big ideas, I'd go ahead and do that really quick too. Otherwise, make it up when you're back. All right.